Wrong song. New theme song. We're here with the boys. We got Truman and Donato.
Donato.
So,
Hi guys, how are you?
quick intro on Donato. Donato is an entrepreneur, badass art collector, dope dude in general, and we've known each other since I think 2017 or so is when we first
Right.
connected out in New York. And originally we just started helping you with some photos and some content for your
Amazing
online.
videos. Yeah, for the nightclub. Remember the nightclub and then
Oh
the
yeah.
pizza shops
Yeah.
Yep,
and then the coffee shop. Wow.
yep. And
I miss those
overall,
times.
like we just had a good friendship and have kept in touch. And so you're currently in Miami,
Yes,
and then
correct.
Truman and I are in Utah right now. So we got the Zencaster bringing us together, and we're just gonna kind of catch up. It's honestly been a minute since
I
we've
know.
really talked. I mean, we had the chance to kind of FaceTime the other day for a little bit,
Right.
but aside from that, we've all been kind of busy. We've been out here hustling, working on our thing. You've been doing your thing. So I kind of want to just hear like what's new in your life.
Well, thank you, Mike and Truman.
Yeah.
First, I miss you guys. It's been a while, right? Time flies. Not much, as you know, COVID hit us extremely hard,
Yep.
especially all of the business owners in New York. And I had to do a shift and pretty much move some of the corporate rentals and vacation rentals from New York City to Miami. Moved here myself, been here over a year and a half now, and going back and forth. So, um, closed a bunch of the retail
That's
spaces,
great.
and um, it's sad for New York to to have all these small businesses close. But now we're coming back. So um,
So
that's where
what was it like being in New York at the beginning of the pandemic when it all started?
actually, Mike, it, it, I did not realize it myself, but it was the worst time of my life. You know, having everything closed at the same time, not knowing what's going to happen, um, all the workers, all the payroll and everything. So it was a really dark moment, and I'm sure for everyone, not just for myself. And when you're in that situation, you don't really understand yourself. So it
Yeah.
was tough, but it's all of that just shapes you more, right? So all the
Yep.
difficulties that you're going through, it just gives you coming at the end, you come out stronger. So yeah, I think it was one of the most difficult things in business for me as well. Something that you can't control yourself. It makes you a lot more um, upset because it's like being a boxer, right? I own Rockies, so it's about boxing. So being a boxer and not being able to be inside the ring. So how can you fight if you're not able to fight? That's all you. That's all
Yeah.
you do, right? You go in and you go with the punches, and you run your business that way. And now, out of the sudden, you can't even go and play. So
Right.
that's meant
And
You get
mentally,
knocked out.
yeah, not knocked
you were in
knocked
brick and
down.
mortar too.
Yeah,
So
it was
that's definitely
horrible.
hard. Like a lot of people struggled over the pandemic with their businesses, but like some people had online businesses and they were able to pivot and stuff. But like when you're in a brick and mortar space, and especially in Manhattan of all places, like you like that's the hardest it could
It was.
possibly be, you know?
It was so bad. Guys, remember, it was so bad at a point in New York City where they were like, well, you can't even sell anything to anyone. No one can walk into your place. They can order it to go. Mind you, outside is freezing, snowing, raining. No one can even use the restroom. No one can come in and sit down for a slice of pizza. And that New York was the longest one. So that
Yeah.
was, yeah, super bad.
So
We
talk
got
about
lucky. We got lucky because we were looking at a location to like an office space in Utah for our team. Because
Hmm.
at the start of the pandemic, we're starting to scale up our company, and we had a small team at that time. And so we were like, let's get a office space where we can start meeting. And we chose a spot that had it was like I don't know 3 different suites and a main area, and we really liked it. And we were about to pull the trigger, and if it was like if I was the one that was making all the decisions, I would have pulled the trigger too soon. But luckily, we uh, didn't close on uh, that office space, and
Wow.
then the pandemic happened, and so we got lucky. But also, uh, kind of halted video production because
yeah.
for us, it's a very in-person thing
Right.
when we work with clients, and so we had to kind of take a step back as well. But we're both here. We floated above,
Yeah, and
and
congratulations for for the album, and you guys make some amazing videos. We got to connect again somehow, whether
definitely,
it's Miami or New York. And
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah, now it's time to go back and
for sure.
and
Right.
So
start fresh again.
Mhm.
So I want to kind of ask you a little bit and get into like your backstory a little bit more. Where let's start at the very beginning. Where were you born?
So I was born very down south of Albania. I have a mixed family. And I grew up parts of all over Europe. Italy. I spent some time in Switzerland, Germany a little bit. I was a very troubled kid growing up.
Hmm.
So I it's not that I didn't like school. I love education. I love to learn. Just that I have ADHD myself, so I'm like it's very difficult for me to concentrate. So I'm like trying to do a million things at once. But I was a very troubled kid, from one school to another. And then at the age of 15, um, I came to the States. I turned 16 in the States. I went to a host family. um, the Was an exchange program where they took the kids from all over the world and they brought them to the States. And I was with a friend of mine, Baptiste from France. And then we just we couldn't pick where they would take us. So funny enough, they took with my luck, they sent me to Dayton, Ohio. Dayton,
Okay.
Ohio, from where's the Wright brothers. So I went to high school there at Stivers High School for the Arts, of course, arts. Uh, and then from there, I moved to Florida and then moved to New York. And since then, it's been what 24 years.
Mhm.
And yeah, and I just stayed, and I go to Europe for fun, but I never. I just there's a saying, um, Mike and Truman, that New Yorkers are born all over the world. They just can't wait to come home, which is New York.
Mm.
Hmm.
So, so I don't, I feel, you could have multiple citizenships, but I feel a New Yorker because of many things. My first job um, was working in a dry cleaning place, making $7 an hour, and then after that, I was a waiter. I started first as a busboy. I couldn't do that shit. I was like, fuck this. Like, I was on that for like 30 minutes. I went back to the owner, rest, Italian guy, and um, I went to him, spoke to him in Italian. My English wasn't that good, And I was like, Maurice, I can't do this. He said, what can you do? I said, I gotta be a waiter. He was like, you just started. What do you mean you gotta be a waiter? I said, well, this is easy. 1, 2, 3. Like, I gotta be a waiter. He was like, no, go back to work. I said, no, Maurice, I'm not going back out there. I gotta be a waiter. So then I started waiting and then started bartending. And I never stopped. Bartending, I still consider myself a bartender. They helped me pay for my college, my education. It was tough, my living situation, and I lived with roommates. And I went to school because I wanted to make mom and dad happy. My parents they all have education. My brother has 2 PhDs, very smart, intelligent people, and they're like, no, you got to go to college. And I'm like, you're wasting my time. I don't want to go to college. I want to I want to make money.
Yeah.
So I only went to make them happy and not be the black sheep of the family who didn't go to school. Although um, I'm not using my schooling. I went to school for finance, and then after that, then I started opening up my own businesses. Like I said, I was a bartender, and I worked as a bartender. Um, but when I graduated college, I was bartending, and someone comes in and sits down, and we start talking. A German guy was an engineer with Mercedes, and he says, "Hey, my girlfriend is coming. She's really not my girlfriend. It's my second date. This and that." And I said, "Well, we'll fix this up, for you." I said, "Don't worry." I said, "When she comes in, it was like, really?" And I said, "But what does she do?" He was like, "She's a VP at JP Morgan." And I'm like,
Oh
fuck.
wow.
Like me, I studied finance, and now this is 2007, 2008, where the entire market crashed with credit default swaps. And I'm like, fuck, like I need this, I need to work. So she comes in, I'm making him a drink, and start talking, introduce myself. I said, I'm Donato, and we're just talking, and she didn't understand because I was behind the bar, but I was getting out, and she was like, "So what do you do?" Like, and I said, "I help people allocate their liquid assets." She was like,
Mm.
and because I know she was in finance, so that's a finance language. She was like, "What?" I said, "What would you like to drink?" She's like, "What?" And then that was my first job. So she
Your
got me,
liquid assets. You
yeah.
cracked a finance joke to her. That's great.
So
I love that.
yeah, so that was my first job, and I stayed with them for 4 years and 11 months, um, till I had to liquidate my. They did the match. They do the match for the 401k, the Roth. So if you stay enough years, they'll match it. And I was an animal. I was going to work every single day, Monday through Friday. And then every other Saturday, I would meet because I was with private clients. So I had to go to work at 9 in the morning to meet, because people with money, they don't meet you during the week. They're too busy with their things. And I did that almost straight 5 years. And then I worked Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. The only day off was Sunday. I'll wake up at 1 p.m. I'll do the laundry, and that was my only time. Like, um, so now I don't work as hard. Now I actually don't work at all.
Hey, you
Back
Yeah.
then
still
I
work.
back
It may
then I
not
used to
feel like
work
work.
yeah, back then I used to work a lot. So and then I had I made enough capital to start my own businesses. I started, a 20% owner at a bar lounge. And then I invested in real estate, and then it just went more and more and more. Then I bought into Rockies in New York City. I had one location, and then we had seven altogether between the wine bar, the nightclub, and the pizzerias. And and then the rentals. As we met you, through Cal and everybody else, and well, I actually met Cal through you. Um, because I reached out to you and you made those amazing. You remember when we had the party at the rooftop? I still have the video. You guys made
Yep.
some
Yeah.
sick videos. That was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. And we had some good memories. Like what
Yeah.
was so cool about like hanging out with you from the perspective of like this kid from Utah who's never really experienced the city life is like one moment we would be at a club or a bar or like Bagatelle or something, and
Oh
then there
my
would be a
God, Bagatelle. Unbelievable.
then
Remember
there
the
would be a
bottles of
limo.
champagne you guys? Oh wow.
It was just like
Wow.
always like something going on, somewhere to go, something to do, and then it would be like 3 in the morning, and we're at a pizza place getting some pizza, and it was just like so much fun. And like for me, I had never really experienced that lifestyle of just go go go. 'Cause like
Yeah.
I'm from San Diego is where I was born in California, and so the California mindset is a little bit different from the New York mindset. But
Yeah.
honestly, it was just like a constant party. Like it, and I mean for you, like that's your life. Like what's it like being submerged in 7 businesses? Like how do you manage all of that? Or when
Well,
you did, how did you manage it?
it's funny you brought that up. Your energy was amazing, and I remember I write to you and just show up. You're like, well, we're working on this thing, and with the accelerator, and then you show up, and then I remember now we go like from a place to a place, and then the limo, and then the nightclub, and wow, it's in the beginning. It's a you just don't realize it because you're in, and I feel like the more work you have, the more, um, especially for me, the more capable of um, uh, being more productive I am. The less work I have,
Mm.
I slack, and
Yeah.
it's funny because I had good managers, everywhere. As even on the rental, I had the guys. The guys did an amazing job. First it was Cal, and then he got everybody else from Utah. At a point, it was like five of them running the business extremely, extremely well. And the other places, I was involved, um, but I had good management, and sometimes it wasn't. Everyone makes mistakes, so it was just the fact that it was so fast, and I was always constantly, like you said, working and going from one place to another place. I think that that for me was very, very satisfying. I think that was the. I think I lost you. Can you hear me or no?
Yep,
Yeah.
I can
We
hear
hear you.
you.
Oh, okay, now perfect. So that was the
Yeah,
most
I
satisfying part, and yeah, that's
I feel
how.
the same way with like staying busy because like I'm also like pretty ADHD, like to be doing things like my hands,
Amazing.
like
We're two.
I'm
We're
always
two of
gotta
us.
be doing something. And like the thing I love about having like multiple projects, like for example, like right now, like we have our podcast, we got like my YouTube channel, we got Temple Mill, our business, I've got music stuff that I do. And
Hmm.
I like having things like this because I want to work on like when I'm working on something, want to be working on what I'm working on so that my
Right.
work is the most efficient and effective. Like if I'm like thinking about Temple Mill and building our business, but trying to make music at the same time, it's not going to be as good. And so I like to be able to focus on whatever's on my mind and like switch between those things because if I only had music, for example, then maybe I would do like a 2 hour sprint working on music. But then
Hmm.
afterwards, you got to flip to something else. And if you don't have another project, you're going to watch TV, you're going to waste time,
Right.
you're going to be on your phone. But with multiple projects, I can go, okay, let's do 2 hours on this. Great. Now let's do 2 hours on this, and then it keeps me super productive. And
Right.
that's one of my favorite things about being a creator or an entrepreneur is it's like the results of what you create. It's like being able to walk into Rocky's Pizza and get pizza, or being able to watch my
But you
videos I make or listen.
you
But
guys are the real creators. I mean, I never forget when I saw your video first. I was like, wow, holy fuck, what is it? Like it was like so amazing, and the videos you guys were making, I was like, I gotta reach out. I gotta reach out. And then you came in and you were like so young, and I was like, is this is really like him making these videos? and and then I see you, you know, putting out these amazing videos for the ER Bar and Lounge and the All Country Coffee, and I was like, wow, these guys. And I always told you, I'm like, man, you gotta have your own, company, you gotta have your own like thing, because this
Yeah.
is unreal. And
yeah.
that there was you guys are the real creators. I was like, fuck, where how did you learn? I was like, you never told me. How did you guys learn to do that?
Um, it it's kind of came through a lot of experience of like just messing around and having fun.
Yeah.
Because for me, I mean, I've been making videos for a really long time. Like I remember when I like growing up in Utah Valley specifically,
Hmm.
the majority of the people around here are a religion called Latter-day Saints or
Hmm.
Mormons.
Right, the
And
Mormons.
something that kind of goes hand in hand with Mormon youth when you're growing up is they're very involved in the scout program, in like Boy Scouts. And
Hmm.
so for most of my friends, what their parents would say is if you want to get your driver's license, you have to get your Eagle Scout first. And the Eagle Scout is just an award within the scouting program for doing
Hmm.
a large service project. And so my older brother, he's 2 years older than me, and he's the oldest in my family. And he was really into scouts. Like he had all the
Hmm.
merit badges, and that guy, like my brother Gabe, he's like my guy. Like I've always like learned so much from him. He's super smart. Like right now he works with NASA, but growing up
Wow.
he was the one that put me on to Kanye West, or like
Yeah,
he
you were
put me
doing
on to.
Travis Scott. You did a bunch of videos, no? That was amazing. You were everywhere,
Yeah, we've worked. I haven't worked with Travis Scott. I would like to, but we've worked with a bunch of different people.
right? I
But when I
remember a
was
bunch of singers, right?
yeah, oh, so,
In
I mean, when we first went out to New York, I was involved in the Fashion Week scene
Right.
when there were, like, parties and stuff going on, and, we would go through and each there would be an event maybe every weekend during Fashion Week or that time frame,
Hmm.
and then random, artists would come through, A$AP Rocky, the whole
Yeah,
A$AP
ASAP.
Mob,
I'm
I
sorry. There
think
you go.
50
ASAP
Cent.
Rocky. I mixed ASAP Rocky with Travis Scott. So I think
That's
it's
a
because of the
common
news
mix-up.
lately.
We
Yeah.
got similar
Because of the
hair.
news.
But, yeah, I just started making videos growing up of, like, skateboarding and snowboarding, and the thing I love about, and skiing, snowboarding, the thing I love about, ski videos is that they edit them really creatively. They edit it
Hmm.
with the music, and I have an uncle who, growing up, he always had a camera, like a professional camera, and I was really interested just in, being able to create stuff like that. And so he would take me skiing, and I had a little GoPro from a little sponsorship when I was
Hmm.
really young for snowboarding. And he would help me edit these videos. And at first, I would edit them in iMovie, and they had this like snap to the beat feature where you could
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
lock in all of the clips and it will edit it to the music. And that kind of started my foundation of how I would edit videos, because I love to edit the clips with the music. Like it's kind of like bringing you on a journey or an experience that's like half of it is visual, half of it is the audio. Um,
Right.
and after like in high school primarily would do photography, and photography taught me framing and composition, and it taught me how to interact and work with other people. And then once I started working with Gerard in 2016 in New York, my original plan was to just be a photographer, But then he was like, yo, I need video, I need video, I need video.
Yeah, because
And then
he
that's kind
he
of
saw how good you are.
where Truman comes in. Yeah, he saw like my eye for shots and frames and stuff. But luckily we had a small team, and this is where Truman and I got introduced. And Truman was primarily trained with video, like editing video in Premiere Pro, and
Yeah.
he knew the camera gear and the settings and stuff. And then I was trained in photography and shooting and composition, all that stuff. And so once we started working together, we would just teach each other things. And Truman
Amazing,
would teach
amazing.
me, how to use the softwares and stuff. And then I would teach Truman, maybe ways that he can compose shots when he's taking photos. Because there would
Hmm.
be different moments where Gerard at any moment could just be like, yo, Truman, come with me. We're going to go to Miami for the weekend. And then Truman
Hmm.
would be the only one there to take photos and video. And so we kind of had to be trained in both lanes
Yeah.
to be able to do
Right.
that.
Uh-huh.
And Truman,
But
where did you learn?
Mike and I have very similar like ways that we learned. Like
Uh-huh.
both of us kind of got started in like the skateboarding. For Mike, it was like skiing and skateboarding, but for me, it was like skateboarding and things like that. And yeah, like in that community, like you always want to, like when you learn a cool trick, you want to be able to show that to your friends. Like if you could do a trick but you couldn't like get it on video, it was almost like you didn't learn the trick, like you have to be able
Right.
to land it but also get a clip of it and share it. And then like also in that community they do uh like full length videos where they're like 5-10 minutes, even like half an hour long. And
Hmm.
like when you have all of your buddies skateboarding, usually like everyone kind of gets good at making videos because it's just like you hand the camera off to each other and like you just get these clips. And then it evolves from there where you start adding music, like Mike said, because like you want to show your clips, but you also want to make it be like entertaining and like fast paced and cool, So you want to be adding the cool hip hop songs and like doing cool things with the effects and whatnot. And that like just kind of transitioned really well into when we were working with Gerard, because it was like our job was kind of to portray him online and like make him look as cool as possible. And so we were just
Not,
like,
not, not, not as cool. You guys made it look the coolest, like
yeah, yeah,
founders without you guys wouldn't be, like it,
appreciate
it,
that.
it, it's the truth. It wasn't,
Yeah,
you guys weren't even making it realistic for what it was. You were making it look so much more, like you were looking at that and you're like, holy fuck. Sorry, my language, you were online.
no, it's
You're
all
like,
good.
what, what is this? So, yeah, because you guys, with that thing, you had all of these people coming in and out, coming in and out. But the most important thing that stayed was how you guys were putting it out there to the eyes of the public, to everyone, including myself and everyone else. So that's all they had to see. So you guys did that, and you were, Mike's brother, like working in the NASA, that made it,
Right, right. Yeah,
shoot to the moon, like, so you guys, I think, and it's true, if it wasn't for you, they wouldn't have gotten the exposure that they got, and
right.
I think, I don't know if Founders is still around. I don't know if they're still doing, but you both of you made that seem unreal. Like everyone could have done videos or pictures, and I know a lot of them. I'm not going to name names because but you were doing the best. When you guys left, you went back to Utah. No one replaced that. There was just your videos here and then everybody else regular videos here. So I got to
mm,
give you guys credit. That's why we got to work again together.
Yes,
definitely. And yeah, I'm just glad that we've been able to keep in touch over the years and through social media. And honestly, social media is another huge part to why I got into uh like photo video stuff, or that kind of accelerated it, because I think I created my Facebook account. I don't even remember how old I was, but I remember making my Instagram, which was the real game changer for me, when I was in 7th grade. So I
Wow.
think in 7th grade, you're like 12 or 13 or something like that. And I just got really hooked with, like, trying to get more likes and get more followers. Like, I like friends at high school and stuff. It starts with kind of like a popularity. You want to get likes. But then I found, like, whoa, if I like post cool photos, if I go and follow a bunch of people and like their stuff or whatever, then they'll come and they'll follow me back and they'll engage with my stuff. And I started to kind of like grow my personal brand. And I love where Truman and I are at right now versus in 2016, because from 2016 to, I mean, even today a little bit, most of our creative work went into doing it for other people and for clients. And,
Hmm.
we still love working with clients, but we're just a lot more particular now about who we work with. But also we're able to put our creativity into our own stuff, into making, like Apple Shift Q music videos, or our podcast, and doing conversations like this, or whatever projects. Like, sometimes, like, we would put in, I don't know, 50 to 100 hours of work into a video that took months of planning and team and all this stuff. And then the client wouldn't necessarily appreciate it the way that we appreciated it, because they couldn't really like tell like the quality difference. Video is like so broad, like you could be
Yeah.
anything from an Instagram story to a Hollywood movie, and there's still videos. But
Right.
you got to find a place in the middle. And working with clients was pretty tough at first, just because we kind of had pride over our creations. We love them. Like, we were like, yeah, this is gonna be the best video that you're gonna have on your page.
Yeah.
And we knew that we had the ability, and that kind of helped us build our confidence. But then, you know, it wouldn't translate into sales directly, because they wouldn't have a marketing plan, or something would happen. And it's like what you were saying earlier, getting in the ring like Rocky. And
Yeah. Yeah.
business is totally like getting in the ring, because you're gonna get hit. Like, there's no getting around it. 100%
Yeah.
you're gonna be taking hits. And like,
Uh-huh.
Okay.
you just
If
have
you,
to roll with the punches.
that's it. If you
And
ever
there's no
want
way
to,
to prepare for it either. Like you can't you can read so many books on, how to fight in the ring, but once you get in the ring and get punched in the face, all that information goes out the window and you just kind of have to roll with the punches. But like there's so many people that never hop in the ring. They're just always spectating on the outside trying to figure out how to do it, but like you just have to get in there. And that like applies to so many other things.
you and you guys always said that, like you kind of never gave up. And one thing, I don't know if it's the culture in Utah, but I gotta, I have to only work with you. We used to call Utanians. Remember how India would call Cal and everybody else? Because I remember when I met Cal, I called him Young Bill, like Bill Clinton, right? Because he
Oh yeah.
reminded me of young Bill Clinton. Um,
Uh-huh.
you know the same story, right? You know how he approached me through you. He came up to me at the party and he said, "Look, I know a lot from from Mike and everything, and my name is Cal." And I was up. I was a little fucked up. I was drunk. I was like, "No, your name is not Cal. You're like Young Bill." Um, and I said, "You look like Bill Clinton." And he goes, "Okay, D, look, you know what? I won this thing, and I came to New York, and now I don't have a place to stay anymore. I'm not working for founders anymore." And he goes like, "Look, man, I just don't want to go back to Utah." And I'm like, so so what's the plan?" He goes, "Can you hire me, please?" And I said, well, do you know how to make pizza? He said, no. I said, fuck. Okay. You know how to make coffee? Have you ever worked in a coffee shop? He goes, no, no, D, no, I don't. I said, well, have you ever worked as a server or behind the bar or anything like that? He goes like, no, but I've done events and this. And I was like, fuck, okay. I was like, look, I just don't want to go back. I don't know, whatever it takes, I just don't want to go back. So funny, I was like, okay, just you know, let me think a little. So I got his number. The next day I called him. I said, you know what, Cal, you're hired. And he was like, okay, thank you so much. And he was like, for what? I said, I have no idea. I just, I don't know, but I'm going to find out. I said, I don't have a position for you, but I will create a position for you. And then I let him run my rental business in New York. But what I like the most, I connect that with you guys, is that he had no job, no place where to stay. Okay. I think he told me is I have like $100 left, and he still wasn't giving up. He said, I'm not going back, you know? And for me, I thought maybe he's just saying that because it's a night and everybody's, having a good time and whatever. So I wanted to see if he really felt that way, right? If he really, you know, was with a mindset of like, I'm not giving up, So I gave it a day. And then the next day when I did call him, he was the same way. So I was like, I'm not letting this guy go. He's one of us. He's like me. He's not giving up. So, and you guys are the same, and that's why now you guys are successful. You run your own businesses, and that's what you should do, because like you said, you have, you at current moment or difficult times know the value of yourself. Sometimes people don't see it, and sometimes people, it's easier for them to see um, the wrongs. It's in anything. So if you're not the one who pushes yourself and believes in yourself, it's then you're already losing before even starting. So yeah, so
If you
it's
don't
like that.
believe in
And
yourself, why would anybody else?
exactly. And the work
And like,
ethic,
yep.
the work
When it
ethic
comes to
from
knowing
you.
your value, only you can know your value.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And your
And I
work
definitely
ethics
think
is amazing.
relentlessness.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And
Absolutely.
likewise,
Thank
we're learning from you, being around you, and like honestly being able to like have that time period where we were able to meet you. And I'm excited for the future because I know that something big
So
is gonna
am I.
happen. Because
So am I.
regardless, because we're not stopping. Like
Yeah.
that's
Yep.
like that was like a core value that Truman and I set with Temple Mill from reading a book called Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, the founder of Nike. And
Mm-hmm.
we've talked about this on the podcast before, but in that book, like towards the beginning, he says like the one piece of advice that anybody should ever give anyone, and the best piece of advice is don't stop. And
Right.
like when I look back at our journey, I see so many opportunities to stop where we didn't. And there are going to continue to be opportunities to stop, and you have to push through those things. And like I remember that day when Cal and Frank moved into the city to go work with you, and
Mm-hmm.
I think they borrowed a van that you had to
Mm-hmm.
come pick
Mm-hmm.
up all their stuff. And I think Truman
Rocky's
was
man.
even down in Lancaster. I think
Yeah.
you were. And then I remember because before they went out and moved with you, literally we were sharing a room. It was like me, Truman, and Cal were all in one room, like the size of this room that I'm in. Not very big.
There's
that's
And
mattresses
that
everywhere, and in every
that's
available
so
space
funny.
of floor was just like dirty laundry and like beer bottles, and like just, it was a mess.
all sorts of
That
stuff.
that
And yeah, like honestly, you came in like really clutch for Cal because like he had decided like there wasn't room to grow with founders but wanted to stay out there.
Yeah.
And like the timing was so perfect and it just aligned so perfectly. And I remember I was like vlogging that day a little bit, and I even remember after they left, like I like got emotional because it like was like, wow, like it's the end of a chapter and the start of a new one. It's always
Yeah,
like a bittersweet feeling because to move to a new chapter, you have to let go of a previous one. And yeah, these are definitely like memories that I'm never gonna forget.
yeah, yeah.
So
It's
Donato,
true.
I'm curious, how old were you when you moved to New York? Do you remember?
I think I was 18. Yeah,
Oh, same. I was
yeah,
18.
18. Yeah, 17, 18. 17, 18. And I mean, for me, I always loved New York. I'm in Miami. Don't get me wrong. I love Miami. The weather, it's like you're on vacation 24/7. But I feel like if I ever want to get recharged and if I want to get some energy, I have to go back to the city. Like New York is for me it was I what made me, like
Yeah.
you see everything, you have everything, and it's you gotta make it. It's really the jungle. It's I mean, and I don't know who asked me this from you guys back on 1 2 years ago. They said, "Oh, I want to have an interview and so what do you think about New York?" I said, "It's the jungle." And he goes like, "What type of animal are you?" I said, "Look, man, you know, I just fight not to get eaten."
Mm,
Like it's a survival mode in New York, and you just gotta go every day. You just gotta go every day, and for me is what gave me energy. Even right now, what gives me energy. I go back to New York. I still have a bunch of businesses in New York, and I have to go and run them and see how they're operating. Um, and I go and I'm like, every time I go, I'm like, wow, you know. It's like the first time, like, wow, fuck, I gotta do something. I gotta do something more. I gotta get bigger. You don't
Yeah.
have that
yeah.
anywhere else. In Miami, you do, it's normal. Like that, I only feel in New York City. I mean, nowhere in the world. Right? The top metropolitan cities in the world: Milano, Italy, Paris, London. I mean, Tokyo, nowhere. Hong Kong. The only place I feel like that is New York City, and yeah, I don't think that's gonna be taken away from me. But I love that. It's what gives motivation, and yeah, like Frank Sinatra says, if you make it there, it's mental. You feel like you'll make it anywhere else, and you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of want to shift the subject a little bit, and I'm curious of your thoughts on the current cryptocurrency space. Is that somewhere where you are pretty involved, or do you not really pay attention to it?
It's funny. Um, I was. I'll tell you a story. So I have a really good friend of mine, one of my best friends. His name is Steve Ono. He actually lives in Utah right now. He's a New Yorker. Um, he's a software developer. He's mixed Japanese and Hungarian. His father used to run Japan printing down on Wall Street. Very successful firm years and years ago. So I'll give a little information about him. And he took it over the company when the company was doing very bad, shifted around, made it super digital and with all these 3D printers and all that. And then he sold it for his dad, and then he moved to Utah. The story with me and Steve, we met when I was in the restaurant business, as I was working bartending and managing, and at one time, um, this is I think like 7 years ago or so, about seven or a little bit longer. He calls me, and I will never forget. And he says, "Donato," he calls me Versace, Versace. And I'm like, "What's up?" He goes, "Look, you gotta buy this thing. I cannot explain it to you, but it's Bitcoin. And I'm like, what's this Bitcoin? It was just whatever money you have, just buy it. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like, okay, Steve is one of my best friends. Trust me, trust me. Long story short, my first Bitcoin that I ever bought was $180.
Wow.
Wow.
And then yeah, and because you see the history, and then the other one, 220, right? So it's funny. I told my girlfriend last night. So then we take a trip. Me, Steve, Arthur, our friends. We go to Iceland, Reykjavik. If you guys have never been, you got to go. One of the best places. You see the Northern Lights. So Steve books the everything, flight, hotel, and I I owed him at the time, it was like $1,200. Okay, like 12 or 1,300 bucks. And he said, Donato, he did the calculations. So I said, okay, you know what? I had all these Bitcoins. I said, like, can I send you? And at the time it was like 200 bucks. So I sent him 6 Bitcoins for the trip.
Oh, man.
And you still see it, right, on the history six. And I was out last night and I told my girlfriend, I said, this is the most expensive trip I've ever taken. It's like $1 million trip, you
Yeah.
know? And I spoke to Steve and he goes like, Donato, I never sold any Bitcoin that you ever sent me. So to answer you, yes, I am. I was a lot more involved. But you know what? Even in business, and especially with these things, you just never know. So when you think of getting something, so I love Tesla, right? For me, I got Tesla when it was $20 and when it was $40, and it, a few days ago it was 1,200. But you never know, where is going to be the top. So if you're buying, something at, let's say, 200, and then you see it go to 10K, you're like, oh my God, I made all this money, right? So then you get rid of it. So I am involved still. I just wish I didn't I didn't send Steve Bitcoins for vacations and things like that, but I am still involved, very much, and not like I used to, and I follow it, every day, and I think it's gonna change. It's gonna shift a lot of things, and we're already in the process of seeing that.
I heard that the city of Miami was going to be getting involved with crypto and like giving all the
Like a
citizens
token,
like a
Miami
Yeah,
certain
a
coin
amount
or
or
Bitcoin.
something like
something.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's really
Miami.
interesting.
Miami, and the mayor of Miami, he got reelected. Miami is now the crypto currency, well, the capital of cryptocurrency in the United States. They really took that lead,
Yeah.
and they're and Miami is going crazy in real estate. It's expanding. It's insane. And also the fact that during COVID was the only city was open, was closed only for 2 months. That's why I moved down here.
Mm.
And there it's everywhere. All the cryptocurrency, big meetings and trades and the expo, they're all here. And it's very big in cryptocurrency. A lot of them, they're accepting payments. It was actually one of the few cities in the States who had the largest real estate transaction, um, made paid in Bitcoins. So it
Oh,
is it
wow.
is true. Yeah, it was a $24 million house was bought with Bitcoin. So
Wow.
it's the cryptocurrency center right now, and yeah, they're everywhere. That and it's good. It's good. It's good to be to be like this. Like also Utah is becoming, my friend tells me, like the next Silicon Valley. All the tech companies are there,
Yeah.
um, and things are shifting now.
Yep, they call it Silicon Slopes
Yeah.
because we got Adobe out here, Podium, Vivint, bunch of other tech companies. I'm not sure what some of the big ones. I know the what's that one government company that's out here
Uh,
that tracks all of our
IRS
data?
or it's not the IRS, is it?
No, they track all our computer information. I can't remember. But yeah, Utah, I think part of too why a lot of crypto and tech companies come out here is because um like there's so much open land.
Uh-huh.
And like there's like this main area in Utah where people live, but then aside from that, there's a ton of land, and I think power is a lot cheaper and stuff. And so like for someone getting involved in crypto who wants to mine it or something, they can pop up a warehouse with a bunch of rigs in it for
Yeah.
a lot cheaper than other places. But I love seeing Utah grow because specifically over the last 10 or 15 years has when the most change has been happening. But we're trying to get involved in it also with our company and our tech projects. But also the thing I love about being an entrepreneur in 2021 is that we have this ability to connect from all over the world. So, like just being able to make this conversation happen with you
Yeah.
right now is super super cool. And I would love like something about the podcast is that we want to do rate multiple episodes with different guests. We really like Joe Rogan's podcast, and he will like bring on friends. Maybe
Yeah.
like every 6 months or so to like catch up with them. And
That's cool.
this I feel like is just the first one, but even doing a podcast with you in person would be really great to do in the future.
Thank
And
you. Thank you.
just like the internet and remote work and the future is what gets me super excited. Like I think that's one of the parts of our reality that I feel the most like ambitious or inspired about is just like learning the new things that are happening with the world with technology. And yeah, Utah is just kind of a cool low key place to do that. And then you can also escape into the mountains. I don't know. Do you have you ever skied or snowboarded?
I have. I am a horrible, horrible skier. You know,
That's all
and
right.
and and I don't know how I didn't break any bones. I remember, and I actually in Switzerland is beautiful. I went to Crans Montana, and there's a lot of beautiful places where you can ski, but I'm like the yes man, with my friends and everyone. I just like I'm the guy that like says yes to everything. Yeah, come on, let's do. Of course, let's do it. So I didn't even know what the diamond was like. Diamond slope. I'm like, I
A
should
black
be at
diamond.
like the black diamond. I should be at the bunny slope. And they're like, let's go. I'm like, yeah, let's go skiing. I'm like, oh my God, what did I do to myself? And I'm like, oh, I gotta go now. So yeah, no, I'm not good at skiing or snowboarding at all. I'm just like, but I would love to go. I mean, uh, the plan is I want to go to Utah to see my friend Steve and also you guys. I would love to see Utah. I've heard so much. It was part of my to-do list place to go and didn't go yet. So yeah, I would like to visit soon.
Here's
For
a little
sure.
sneak peek.
Nice,
Off
nice.
Truman's
Yeah,
Can you
this
see what
guy's
balcony.
mountains are?
everything like yeah, mountains, like trees, everything. Amazing. Nice
Well,
place you got there, Truman. Nice place.
yeah, Truman
This is
Truman
like
used to live in
the
my place, but now he's up the valley a little bit.
this is like the common area, but like yeah, this is a really nice
Wow,
place.
super
It's
nice.
got good views and stuff.
Well,
Beautiful,
guys, we're
beautiful.
coming up to an hour, and I think this would be a good place to wrap this up. But Donato, seriously, we really appreciate you spending the time to come and talk to us and to share these stories with our audience. And I can definitely tell, you got way more stories, and we got so much more that we could talk about, but we got to leave them wanting more.
Yeah.
Well, it's a privilege, guys. Thank you so much. I miss you both. And let's connect, whether it's New York, Miami, but let's do this soon.
Yep.
And thank you for reaching out. And it's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure, Donato.
Okay.
Great. Well, we'll tag your social medias below. What's your Instagram
Okay.
handle so the people can
Um,
follow?
Donato.nyc.
Boom. Simple.
Perfect.
Great.
Very simple.
Awesome.
Okay,
Well,
cool.
you're the
Thank
man,
you.
Donato, and thanks again.
Mike and Truman, I love you guys. Thank you so
Hey,
much.
love you too, brother.
Okay.